All right, let's talk about something huge in the hospitality world. You know that feeling, right? The place is buzzing, it feels busy, but are you actually profitable? It's a classic problem. So many businesses are just drowning in data but starving for real, actual insights. Well, we're going to fix that today. We're going to zero in on just five key numbers that will completely change the game for you, turning all that noise into smart, money-making decisions. So, let's dive right in.
Okay, this quote right here, it's basically the theme for our whole conversation. Feelings are not metrics. So simple, right? But it's incredibly powerful. Look, your gut instinct is important, for sure, but you can't really measure it, can you? And if you can't measure something, you can't improve it. Real, solid growth, that comes from knowing your numbers, inside and out.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. On the left, you've got this vague feelings we all have. It feels busy. Okay, what do you do with that information? Nothing, really. But on the right, bam, hard facts. Your utilization rate is 65%. Revenue is down 15% month over month. Your conversion rate is 22%. See the difference? It's the difference between guessing and knowing. So many of you probably have all this data already, hiding in your booking logs and calendars. You're just not connecting the dots. That's what we're here to do.
So where do we even start with all this? Well, we start right at the beginning, at your front door, so to speak, your sales process. The real question is, are you turning all that interest you get into actual, real income? Let's look at the first two metrics that are going to tell you exactly that. Okay, first up, and this one is a biggie, your inquiry to booking conversion rate. Honestly, this is like the ultimate report card for your sales process. The math is super simple, don't worry. You just take the number of confirmed bookings, divide it by the total number of qualified inquiries you got, and boom. So let's say you got 40 good inquiries and that led to 8 bookings. That means you've got a 20% conversion rate. Easy.
Now check this out, because this is where it gets really, really interesting. This chart shows what happens when you make even a tiny improvement. Imagine you just tweak your follow-up process a little bit, or maybe you make your pricing info clearer. And just like that, your conversion rate goes from 20% up to 30%. Now that might not sound like a huge jump, but trust me, the impact on your bottom line is, well, it's massive.
Yeah, you're seeing that right. That little jump from 20% to 30%, that's a 50% increase in your revenue. And here's the best part, the absolute magic of it. You didn't have to spend one more cent on marketing. You didn't need more ads, more leads, nothing. You just got better at converting the business you were already getting.
I want you to think of this metric as your secret weapon, like a diagnostic tool for your business. If the phone is ringing off the hook with inquiries, but you're not getting the bookings, you know your marketing is actually doing its job. The problem isn't at the top of the funnel, it's somewhere else. It's a bottleneck. Is it your pricing? Are you too slow to respond? Is your follow-up game weak? This number doesn't just tell you there's a problem, it tells you where to start looking.
And hey, speaking of being slow, that leads us perfectly into metric number 2, your average response time. Let's be real, in hospitality, speed isn't just important, it's everything. A fast reply screams professionalism, it builds trust instantly. A slow reply, well, that just sends your potential customers running straight to your competitors, the ones who get back to them in minutes, not days.
Okay, so you've nailed down your sales process. You're getting bookings. Great. But that's really just the start. The next level is all about maximizing the value you get from every single one of those bookings. This is where we stop working harder and start working a whole lot smarter.
And that brings us to metric number 3, revenue per event. It's so easy to get obsessed with just being fully booked, right? But the really successful venues, they focus on something called revenue density. This metric shows you how strong your pricing and your upsell game really are. Think about it. If you had 10 events last month and 10 events this month, but your total revenue went down, this metric makes you stop and ask the tough question. Why?
Of course, an empty room doesn't make you any money. And that's where metric number 4, your utilization rate, is absolutely key. I absolutely love this analogy, so stick with me here. Your calendar is like perishable inventory. Think of it like fruit in a grocery store. Every single day that goes by unsold is a lost opportunity. It's revenue you can never, ever get back. This number tells you exactly how much of your precious inventory you're actually selling.
And a simple chart like this gives you that bird's eye view of your efficiency just at a glance. You can immediately see things like, whoa, our Saturdays are always booked solid, but Fridays are totally dead. Or maybe you spot a dip every single February. This isn't just data for data's sake. This is ammunition. It empowers you to stop guessing and start taking action. creating targeted promotions, maybe some off-peak deals, anything to fill those empty slots on the calendar.
Okay, so we've talked sales, we've talked revenue. Now it's time for the final, and I gotta say, often the most overlooked piece of this whole puzzle, figuring out what it actually costs you to get a customer in the first place.
And this, my friends, is your cost per booking. Again, the math is simple. Just take your total marketing spend for a period, and I mean everything, paid ads, listing fees, you name it, and divide that by the number of bookings you got. So if you spent, say, $2,000 on marketing and it got you 10 bookings, your cost per booking is $200. Simple as that.
And why does that simple number matter so much? Because it answers the million-dollar question. Is your marketing actually making you money? Think about it. If it costs you $200 to get that booking, but your profit on that booking is only $150, you've got a huge problem. You are literally paying people to take your money. Knowing this number is non-negotiable. It stops you from pouring cash into marketing channels that feel like they're working, but are actually just bleeding you dry.
Okay, so if these 5 metrics are so powerful, you might be wondering, why isn't everybody tracking them obsessively? Well, the excuses are pretty common, but the good news is they're actually really easy to overcome. The number one reason people give is this one right here. We're just too busy. And look, I get it. The hospitality industry is a grind. It's nonstop. It can feel like you don't have a single second to spare to look at a spreadsheet. But here's the thing. You're not actually creating new work for yourself. This isn't about starting from scratch. All of this data, it already exists. It's right there, sitting in your booking logs, your calendars, your payment processor. The job isn't to go out and find new data. It's just about pulling together what you already have.
Okay, and then there's the second big excuse, the technology one. Oh, we don't have some fancy, expensive system for this. So many people think you need all this complicated software to get started, but honestly, that's just a myth. It's an excuse that keeps you stuck.
Because the truth is, you don't need to spend a single dime to get started. A simple spreadsheet, Google Sheets, Excel, whatever, updated just once a week with these 5 numbers is more than enough. The goal here is clarity, not complexity. Get the clarity first. Then way down the road, you can think about fancier tools. Don't let the idea of not having the right system stop you from getting these game-changing insights right now.
And when you start doing this, when you consistently track these 5 little numbers, something truly incredible starts to happen. It's like a compounding effect for your business. You stop guessing. You start knowing. You immediately see where the problems are, you figure out how to get more bookings, how to make more money from each one, and you stop wasting money on marketing that doesn't work. Your whole business just shifts from constantly putting out fires to actually being strategic. So I'm going to leave you with this one final question, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. Is your business being driven by intuition, by how things feel, or is it being driven by intelligence, by cold, hard data? Because ultimately, the answer to that question is what's going to decide your future.